been nice meeting all of you. I hope to see you tonight at the Bitcoin Center at the event. On an event until we meet up with Popcorn guys over there, and then it'll be a party. So I'm here to talk about Auroracoin. Before I do, let me tell you a bit about myself. My name is David Leo. I run a cryptocurrency research and trading desk at a stealth startup here in Manhattan. Before getting into the Bitcoin space, I was an artificial intelligence researcher out in Silicon Valley. Some of the most recent work I did was on using artificial neural networks to forecast movie revenues. And as exciting as that work is, it's very compelling. It doesn't hold a candle to the cryptocurrency space. This is the most interesting thing going on in the world right now. So congratulations to you all for being here. Let me tell you as well, I also operate CoinHeavy. It's a cryptocurrency services consultancy. We do integrations for nonprofits and charities free of charge to encourage adoption and help educate. One of the projects we did recently is, I'm a big fan of Adam Carolla. Some of you have heard of him probably. He co-founded The Man Show with Jimmy Kimmel. He's got a show on Spike TV right now called Catch a Contract. It's pretty funny. And he also operates one of the largest podcasting networks right now. So, big fan of his. I integrated his podcasting network to accept Bitcoin subscriptions and donations. And also, as a prominent podcaster, he's being sued by patent trolls. Not over what he's saying, he's not being sued for libel, but he's being sued for saying anything at all, recording it, and putting it on the internet. So instead of paying these people to go away, he is choosing to take them to court, and he's got a crowd-funded legal defense campaign. It's on Fund Anything. You can search for Troll Hunter. And that campaign is also accepting Bitcoin donations. So if you can, you want to help out, look it up. All right, on to Auroracoin. So Auroracoin is Icelandic cryptocurrency. And when I say Icelandic, it's not officially sponsored by the government. They're going through all sorts of machinations to try to figure out how to deal with this, something that they can't exactly control directly. So it's not sponsored by the government, but it's targeted specifically at Iceland. So just for reference, I had to look it up to you a while ago. That's where Iceland is. So why Iceland? Well, first and foremost, the people, right? Iceland is a relatively small country, about 338,000 Icelanders. It's fairly culturally homogenous. About 94% of Icelanders are born in Iceland, of Icelandic descent in one fashion or another. The economy as well. So in recent years, in 1981, going back a little bit, the Icelandic krona, their currency, went through a devaluation where the old currency, 100 of the old currency became worth 1 of the new currency. This was due to hyperinflation that was going on at the time. More recently, in 2008, the Icelandic banking system went through a crisis that, relative to the size of their economy, was the largest banking crisis in the history of the world. So their 3 largest private banks went into receivership. All the foreign assets of those banks were sold off, and banks were essentially nationalized. So you can, as you can imagine, there were some currency implications there too, where you were an Icelander and you're holding Icelandic krona. It wasn't great for you, for your value relative to dollars or euros. Since then, there's also been significant capital controls put in place, foreign exchange controls, so it's very difficult to do business in Iceland if you're dealing in foreign currencies. And as you can tell, since it's an island, all international trade, that's going to be a bit of a barrier. So this is a relatively small group of people who are fairly similar to one another. They've had recent economic turmoil, specifically in the currency space. So they're a great target population to be interested in cryptocurrency. Geographically as well, not only is it an island, but about 200,000 Icelanders of the 330,000 that there are live within 400 square miles of Reykjavik, the capital. So they're fairly geographically concentrated as well. So what's new with Auroracoin, right? Well, distribution, we've talked a bit about it today, and as mentioned earlier that with Bitcoin, it can be unsettling to some people how the few actors that hold so much of the currency. So you can, as you're starting a new conversation with someone about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency in general, maybe they haven't heard of it, you sort of take them as far down the rabbit hole as you can, depending on how technically inclined and interested they are. You hit a point where they are either into it or they're not, and if they're into it, they start asking questions like, well, how do I get involved? How do I get in? How do I buy some? So in addition to needing to spend roughly $500 to get a single one of these units, it can also be very off-putting to someone when they say, well, who owns them right now? And you have to explain that, well, there's this entity, and he, she, they, or it controls a major stake, 10 plus, 12 plus % of the currency. So that can put people off a little bit. What's new with Auroracoin is the distribution model. So the idea is to provide some equity in the fairness sense of the word, so that everyone in Iceland can claim an equal stake of Auroracoin. So it was 50% pre-mined by the core developer and creator, Balder. He's pseudonymous, that's why I'm here. So if everyone in that community can have an equal stake, then what happens when everyone in the community comes together on equal footing to learn about cryptocurrency at the same time? So this process is called the airdrop, and it's for every citizen in Iceland. The way it's working is over the course of 1 year, starting on March 25th, and it'll go for 1 year. There are 3 rounds. So in the first round that's going on right now, we're just over 2 weeks in, and about 9.5% of the airdrop coins have been claimed, which means about just under 10% of the population has claimed their coins, which is pretty exciting. I mean, that's moving fairly quickly for a process that it was planned to take a year. So there's 3 rounds in 4 months. It'll reset, and whatever coins are remaining that have been unclaimed will be reallocated, and everyone again will have a chance to claim the equal stake. And that'll happen another time for a total of 3 rounds. The verification process is pretty interesting, the way it's been put together. If you try to impersonate an Icelander over here, you won't get very far at all. It checks to make sure that your IP address is originating in Iceland. Now, you could get a VPN, you can go through that. You won't get very far past that. There's a national ID database that's sort of like a public social security number. So you need one of those. You either need an Icelandic cell phone number, or you need a Facebook account that matches your name according to your name in the public database that was created before the airdrop started. So it would be pretty tough to figure out a way around it, and if you can, come see me and we'll talk about bounty for helping us start the process. And proof of burn. So at the end, unclaimed coins are going to be destroyed in a publicly verifiable, cryptographically provable fashion. It's called proof of burn. All of them will be destroyed except for 6% of the airdrop coins. Half of those coins will be donated to a charity or multiple charities to be voted on by the community at the time. And the remaining half will be held for continued development of the project to develop software, mobile applications, all that sort of thing. So who cares, right? Well, obviously people in Iceland do. If someone came and said, hey everyone, here's some free money, we would all care. But we should care about this too, because in the cryptocurrency space, we're talking about computer science. There's a big advancement in computer science to making all this possible. Well, in science, we want to do experiments. And what better place than this island with this group of people who should be very interested and are very interested. We're going to see what happens when everyone in a community is getting involved. It's really exciting for us to all be here today and to have other people that we can speak with about cryptocurrency where we're not starting, just from square one, right? Where we can have a conversation with folks who know more than we do about it. It's very exciting. It's great energy. And then at the end of the day, we all go home and we go back to every new person we meet and we want to talk to them about Bitcoin. Well, we got to take them by the hand through this whole process. But, imagine, let's do a thought experiment there for a minute. Imagine if, when you went back home to wherever your home is, when you got there, everyone in your family not only had heard of cryptocurrency, but had some. Everyone on your block, everyone in your town, everyone in your full country. And not only had they heard of it and had it, but they all had an equal stake, an equal starting stake. Now, wouldn't that be pretty compelling? Well, that's what's going on in Iceland right now. So, Auroracoin is sort of this first country coin, and today it's the most successful. There are many others that are coming out all the time now. It's very interesting to see. I think it'll be great for people to test different distribution models to see which populations are getting involved and what happens. Spain, those first two, Spain coin and Peseta coin are both targeting Spain. Greece coin, Aphrodite coin is for Cyprus. Scott coin, obviously, Scotland, Yale coin, Ireland. Silicon Valley coin is sort of an interesting one. They're doing a mail drop where they're choosing certain mail routes in various zip codes in Silicon Valley to distribute paper wallets. So that'll be interesting to see how that works out. And then in New Zealand, Kim.com, a lot of people have probably seen the video, he started this internet party, this political party called the Internet Party, and he's been calling for the New Zealand government to officially sponsor a cryptocurrency, not to have it be centralized, but to have them sort of sponsor it and promote it. So now that you all are on board and you want to get involved, how can you get involved? Well, Auroracoin.com, we're hiring. We're looking for an engineer to help build out some applications. Everything's open source. It's going to continue to be open source. Compensation cryptocurrency, we've talked about all that good stuff. We're also looking for some support people, ideally speaking Icelandic. And we've got some folks on the ground over there. We've got a few people working on helping folks who are less technically inclined claim their coins and learn about cryptocurrency and that sort of thing. But we're looking to bring on some more full-time people in a support capacity. There's also a cloud wallet platform that I think could be very interesting to most of the people here who are involved in other coins and currencies as well. So a few weeks ago, I was speaking with Vitalik Buterin. He's the founder of the Ethereum project, which is very, very interesting. If you haven't looked it up, I'd recommend doing so. And I was talking to him about an open source cloud wallet for Auroracoin. And he sent over a proposal that he's published for a coin-agnostic, open source blockchain explorer and cloud wallet platform. So essentially it would be coin-agnostic for blockchain.info, right? That would be very easy for all of us here with other coins to modify and then have a robust, well-coded cloud wallet platform for any coin. So if you're interested in that, please speak with me and we'll figure out how it's going to work going forward. I think Vitalik will be leading the development efforts, but we're looking to get as many people as we can involved. And then also, there'll be some design competitions coming up we're pretty excited about. Right now there's an infographic on Auroracoin.com that sort of explains the nature of the coin and the airdrop process and that sort of thing. And as the process evolves and people are claiming coins, we want to sponsor some design competitions for additional infographics to see things like merchant adoption, money velocity as people are spending these coins, get some statistics to see what's actually happening. So, with that, we can go to questions, and let me ask you a few questions first. Is anyone here Icelandic? Has anyone been to Iceland? Okay, excellent. Recently, has anyone been in the past year or two? Has anyone been since 2008? What was it like over there with people talking about the banks?
Expensive, and there were a lot of complaints about banks collapsing.
Expensive and a lot of complaints, so that sounds about right.
Yeah, it was cold too.
Okay. Excellent. Well, I think it's very exciting. Certainly stay tuned in the weeks and months to come to see how it evolves. And thank you for your time. Okay, questions? Anyone curious? Yes?
So I'm with CoinHeavy, we're a payment processor. I'm interested to know, will there be any opportunities for like e-commerce checkout, payment processing, or how do you see that developing?
Certainly. So we're evaluating some, we're not going to do anything officially. We're going to try to have this supposed to be market-driven. What we'll do is try to vet solutions that arise and make sure open source is generally better for this sort of thing, for some transparency. But we'll do some vetting and try to provide some recommendations to people to know who to trust and who not to trust. There will be a few developments coming along formally. For the moment, what we're seeing is mostly e-commerce, with merchants accepting Auroracoin online through their websites rather simply. There's an Android app that's being used as a point-of-sale sort of solution. But because of the nature of the network itself, you don't need, just to get started, you don't need too much custom software. As businesses in Iceland come on board, I think you'll see things tailored to their specific needs and the industries they have. Yes?
So what about the problem? I think the airdrop concept is interesting. What about this notion of getting full participation from the population? So you have free population sort of disenfranchised, or what's the?
That's a good question. I mean, they still have plenty of opportunities to, trade for Auroracoin or earn Auroracoin or mine Auroracoin afterwards. So after the airdrop's done, while it's going on, presently you can mine Auroracoin, and you will be able to after the airdrop as well. So if someone feels like they missed the boat, they can certainly start mining or trading for it, that sort of thing. And like with Bitcoin, I found that a while ago I was recommending people, I think this is really exciting, it's the future, you should get some Bitcoin yourself just to learn more about it. And when you buy cryptocurrency with fiat currency, you feel the roller coaster of price volatility pretty closely. But if you do things like if you're doing freelance work and you start earning cryptocurrency directly, you're a little more immune from that roller coaster. So I'd probably recommend something like that to people who didn't get into the airdrop as well. Although, because of the nature of the country, it's so small, it's the most internet-connected country in Europe. Is about 95% of Icelanders are regular internet users, and that's compared to the EU average of 70-ish%. So everyone's pretty much aware of Auroracoin over there. It's going to be, it's on the national news, every other night these days. So if someone misses the boat, that's kind of on them.
What about population growth? So, is it just because you're alive at this particular moment that you get access to the coin?
Basically.
Any thought
It's an interesting question. I mean, certainly, if someone in Iceland was concerned about that, they might start a foundation and then ask for donations to have a second-generation airdrop to people who are below a certain age. Yes, ma'am?
What do you think would be the incentive to actually keep the Auroracoin and exchange it instead of exchanging to Bitcoin and then just deal with the Bitcoin?
So it's a good question. I think even if some people do exit into Bitcoin, it's still educational, and it'll be good to get more people in the cryptocurrency space in general. I think for Iceland, though, according to 2012 IMF data, they're 17th in the world in per capita GDP. So there's enough affluence where if someone's curious, I think it's going to be relatively easy for them to feel like they can hold on to this currency to see how things evolve, to spend it, local merchants and that sort of thing, as opposed to having there be sort of this widespread need to exit into fiat to go buy food or something like that. So in terms of the population, I think there's some breathing room there for people to explore. Yes?
Has the Icelandic government made any legislative decisions?
Nothing formal as of yet. There's been a few meetings that they've had to sort of discuss it, and as in the United States, there's different sort of senators who have differing views on it. I think that's another reason why the rest of us should care about this, is because it might result in this accelerated regulatory environment where the Icelandic government feels compelled to do something, and since they'll be one of the first actors in that sort of governance space, everyone's going to be looking to them to see what they did, and they might really set the tone. Yes?
You briefly talked about the Bitcoin Buck discussion where BCX claimed that Auroracoin was hacked, but it wasn't actually.
Oh, not really.
Okay.
It's just nonsense on the forums. Hey, yes, in the back there.
Do you guys have any plans to prevent future forks?
It's a good question.
And have they resolved this past fork?
Yep, so there's a fork to implement the gravity well, and it hadn't quite hit the trigger block at the time of the airdrop, but it's a great community, and I reached out to a few pool operators and said, hey, would you help push us forward past the gravity well implementation, and they were more than happy to help, and we're very shortly off to the races after that. Because it's sort of, the nice thing about decentralized currency is that it's not a trustable model. At least through the period of the airdrop, though, this certainly is. I mean, we're all trusting Balder, who's the only person who has these private keys to the airdrop funds, to do what he says he's going to do. And all my communications with him, I've been very impressed that he's in it for the long haul, and he's committed to the ideas behind this. So, in that regard, there's a checkpointing that's been implemented. I think that will resolve the issues for the period of the airdrop, certainly. And then at that time, at the end of that year, this either will be an ongoing operation or it won't, at which point we'll know either way. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
Awesome stuff. So I want to take one more minute here This would be a great time to once again thank our sponsors. And obviously, we have Timecoin, we have Digibyte, we have Burtcoin, we have Allcrypt out there, an incredible exchange. We have CryptoZar, an incredible exchange. We have CoinCloud, as you can see, a very cool piece of technology, unique to anything else. And I think that's one of the cool things. We're really building the infrastructure for the future here. We're very early. So if you're getting into this to make money now, you might have missed that with Bitcoin. There was a small window there where you could have got in, you could have mined some, you could have made money immediately. But you show me a realistic business plan where you get in and just make money immediately, and I'm going to show you something that's an unrealistic business plan. Somebody else can talk a lot about that. Another just heavy hitter. He's had incredible success all around the globe. He has been instrumental, very influential in presidential campaigns. He's somebody that the media turns to basically every time they need something of relevance or validity. And he is somebody who has the only brick and mortar Bitcoin meetup site in the world. That's where our party is at tonight, the Bitcoin Center, 40 Broad Street. 40 Broad Street? Yeah. 40 Broad Street. 40 Broad Street. 40 Broad Street? 40 Broad Street. That's where we're going to be tonight, having a great time. And it's because of the gentleman we're going to bring up next. Somebody, again, that I look to, and they have a ton of knowledge, a ton of experience, credentials that are incredible, and somebody to read about, and you can learn about